Good morning. It's still morning here. It's before noon yet. Good afternoon. It's still morning here. It's a little bit before. Good morning, Tripper. Hi. It's a little bit before noon here. You're talking to the laziest person in the county today. Guess who just woke up? This girl. Yep. Just woke up. Apparently, my body needed sleep. Maybe that will make me not so crabby now. Because that was what it seemed like it needed. I'm gonna start some coffee. It's 11:30 here, so it's not quite noon yet. So at least I got up while the morning was still young. Wasn't fresh. Hello, sunshine lover. Good morning. How are my friends? How are my friends? Time is an illusion. Oh, I can tell you one thing that's happening right now. My fucking head is kicking like a motherfucker because, well, I didn't take my meds on time. So I woke up with a headache because my ass is normally up way earlier than this. What you doing today? I don't know what I'm doing today. I don't know. I thought we said we were going to do something yesterday, and then I forgot what it was. So, because yesterday we had something that sounded like a really good plan to go do, and then that was yesterday. Today's a whole new day, so I don't even know if it sounds like a whole good plan or not, because I don't remember what the plan was. So, I did all my chores yesterday, so I don't have any chores to do. I did all of them yesterday. Oh, I got a fun story. Did you know that the Mormons this last month moved 10 million pounds of food? 10 million pounds of food across the United States. 10 million pounds. It wasn't just to other Mormon locations. Oh no. It was to real people. Not even Mormon people. What is going on in our country? 10 million pounds of food. And number two, did you also hear? Department of Defense said, you're not Christian. You've now been removed from the category. Well, number one, the Mormons, LDS has the most sophisticated food network. Tell me how it is some little LDS people are just able to move 10 million pounds of food across the country. And if that's the case, what is going on? Why are we moving 10 million pounds of food around this country? So that led me into some more research. That's where I learned that our America's cattle herd is the smallest that it's ever been since 1951. So it's the smallest cattle herd. And cattle futures, the government's saying by 2028, it'll bounce back, it'll be fine. Well, I'm sorry, but biology says it's going to be 2029, folks. There's already a 14% increase. There's already a 14% increase in the cost of meat from 2026. So from 2020 to 2026, meat, ground beef, chopped meat, that was $4.89 a pound is now coming in at $7.89 a pound. That's a 14% increase. And it's not going to go lower. That's where it's at now. The bar has now been risen. The bar doesn't get lowered. The bar gets raised. Does that make sense? Yep. Yeah. So, unfortunately, due to biology of cows, it takes approximately 18 months to get your beef to maturity. Well, in that 18-month window, it's going to be 2029. And by then, beef prices are predicted to be about $16 a pound. How's that one for you? We're at 7. We're going to go up to 16 a pound. Remember a while back when Burger King tried out that plant-based Whopper? Yeah, folks. That'd be why. And let one of those cattlemen that are in our cattle herd, let them have a bad season. Let them have fire. If they should have a fire, if they lose grazing ground, if a freeze comes in, something weird, some anomaly, guess what happens? That's a decline in our herd. Yeah. Problematic. So, if, and that doesn't even talk about, we haven't even gotten into like winter wheat, the price for that. Your winter wheat is where a lot of your flour comes from. Okay. And that's a set thing. They tell the farmers, this is what we're going to pay for these wheat futures. This is what we're going to pay. This is what you need to. You might want to, Crystal, because you might need their help soon. Yeah, you might want to, honey. So the price of flour, bread, cookies, anything made with flour, and sugar. Yep. How is your brother doing, Tripper, after his ATV accident? I forgot about that. So yeah, it's listen, pantry storage. Ornery as ever? Okay, well, I mean, we're almost a year out from it too, right? We're almost a year out from it, aren't we, Tripper? I was in the other house. I don't remember, really. I mean, I remember, but I don't. Well, I guess my bigger thought is that if you're a family and you're hurting on sustenance supplies, your basics, listen, obviously there's resources out there right before Christmas. Okay, so we're 6 months out then. If you're a family and you're suffering and you're in need, I guess I'm saying all of this because there are food banks that are out there. There are resources that are out there. You don't have to go hungry. It might not be an easy thing to truck to the food bank distribution center, but the way life is going, you need to lean on those resources. And if you don't need to lean on those resources right now, can you give to those resources? That's the way it kind of evens out. If you don't need them, give to them, and if you need them, use them. So that was my bigger point in all of this, was to talk about it and then say, listen, clearly the Mormon church is seeing, the LDS church is seeing something that the rest of us are not, because they're scuttling 10 million pounds of food through the United States to help food banks, to help non-LDS missions, so to speak. The food pantry's mission is to keep food on hand and be able to give it when needed, right? So, you want to go outside, sit in your yard? Okay, we go outside, sit in your yard. Yeah. Well, it was just last week that the LDS did this. I posted there's a ladies live about it, and her videos were very informative. Very informative. I didn't believe her about the cattle, America's cattle future, or cattle herd being at the smallest ever. I was like, no way. I live in cattle country. I know how big that herd is. No way. Oh yeah, it's right. And that's the other part, is the data centers. Come on. There's a moratorium right now on them in my state. Yesterday, somebody decided to get all crazy in Bags. Bags is over by Rollins. Kind of like this middle, central Wyoming, the middle of the state, but kind of in the middle of the state all the way around. Apparently there were shots fired, and a trooper's cruiser got shot up, and another deputy reported shots fired, and then the radio went dark. So we don't know what happened. I'm not so worried about the data centers taking over the land. I'm more worried about the water that the data centers are going to use. And the fact that the water that they do use is spoiled. It's polluted. And where the fuck do they think they're going to put that? I mean, what? You're going to send it to Coca-Cola and it's going to end up in our Mr. Pibbs? Just questions I have. Yeah, it'll go back into our food. They'll use it to... And that's the thing, though. They can't, because the water's not... It's not water enough. It's chemicals. It's chemicals that get released into the steam when the water's in the evaporated state, that when it reconcentrates and it comes out of the steam form and goes back into the solid form of water, it's no longer able to be drank. Hey, Spitfire. We're chewing on bark in the rain. Yes, we're going to become like a third world country very soon. No fresh water, no ability to grow anything, because it's all going to be data centers. I'm telling you, don't you let me find out they put a data center near us. I will be in so much trouble. I'll get trespassing charges. No, my email's the same one, Uber. Voice, for the voiceless WY at gmail.com. It's still the same one, voice for the voiceless WY at gmail.com. Gmail suckered me into paying 49 cents a month for it, like, so I got another, I don't know how many gigs of storage, because somehow all my every goddamn photo I take ends up in my Google Drive. And I don't know why that is. And it's stupid, but whatever. Voice for the voiceless WY at gmail.com. Oh, geez, Tripper. We're going to go hide a body. Oh, nice. Date night. Nice. Listen, I can't help. I backed up. Turn on your phone. Play around. It's in my settings. I'll find it. Okay. I probably turned on back up my phone. Oh, yeah, because I got like a terabyte of storage in my phone. So I don't need it backed up to my Google Drive, and it pissed me right off. But I couldn't get anything to delete, and I was pissed. So I had to pay 49 cents a month, and my cheap ass is like 49 cents. No. I don't At that time I didn't have 49 cents in the budget. Because it was costing me everything to keep a roof over my head. There's seven in Montana, but they're not even close to the Wyoming border yet. They're up higher on the high line in Montana. It's like they're trying to get the water where it starts. Is how it seemed. Hey, come here. Oh, wow. My phone gets rebooted every night. Every night. My phone it shuts off in the night and restarts. Every night. I have it set so at like 2 o'clock in the morning it restarts. I am very rarely up at 2 a.m. Very rarely. I used to have it do it at 4, but I was getting up at 4. But I set my phone up so it just restarts every night. Spitfire, that's one of my questions. That's on my research list to figure out. Like, are they actually putting data centers anywhere else? And if not, why are they choosing the US? Bye. Have a good day. Drive safe. It did, Canvas. It did. Thank you. I said thank you, and I didn't know if you were still listening or not, but it did come through last night. Thank you. I saw that this morning when I was looking at my phone. I was like, oh, well, shit. I appreciate you, Canvas. You have been very generous, very kind, and I appreciate that. Last night, last night, right before I went to bed, I put one up on the bed, and guess what she did? She peed my bed. So after stripping the bed yesterday morning and washing everything and putting it back on the bed yesterday afternoon, at bedtime last night, this one got into bed, and the first thing she did was pee. And so that's why I was up late, was making sure everything got put into the dryer, because this one peed my bed. I got a little baby pee bug. And I can't figure out, like, we had just been outside, so why would she have done that on my bed? I don't know. You would have to ask her. I'll be right back. So last night we did our Myrtle, you know. I don't know, Tripper. Sometimes YouTube just gets weird. So, last night, my neighbor was having a bad day. And she had texted me while I was live, and I didn't respond to it till afterwards. Because my phone was on Do Not Disturb. I got smart and finally started kicking it in Do Not Disturb when I'm live so that I don't get 1,000 text messages. So she texted me in. She was having a bad day and she needed a friend indeed, you know. So I'm like, yeah, come over. We were sitting there talking and she's like, well, what were you doing tonight? Did I bother you? And I said, no, you didn't bother me. I was live. I was playing with my internet friends. I have friends that live in my phone. We were playing together. We were doing a Myrtle. She's like, a Myrtle? What's that? So I showed her the book. And then when I put that back, she looked at my shelf. I don't think she's been in here. She used to live in this apartment, but I don't think she's been in here since I got it all set. Well, she started looking at my shelf of miniatures, and she's like, what are those? And I said, they're miniatures. I built them. You built them? Yeah, I built them. You want to see them? So I started handing them to her. And then she's like, is this what you do all day? And I said, sometimes. Sometimes I work on miniatures. Sometimes I work on diamond painting. Sometimes I work with my press. So what I do, I sit here and I play with Legos. Rebuilt my Legos yesterday. Was pretty happy with that. Got all my little succulents all back up. Look, even found a place for the camera to sit. She didn't realize those were Legos. So then I had to show her all about Legos. So then she's like, did you eat supper? And I said, I did. Would you like some supper? And she said, I'm kind of hungry. And I said, well, I got macaroni and cheese and egg salad if you want that for supper. And she's like, oh my God, that sounds amazing. I haven't had that since I was 5. And I said, I know. Most people don't eat that kind of food, but look, I'm not going to give you my Sesame Street plate, but I'll make you a plate and you can take it home. Just don't heat it up in the microwave. And she's like, why would I heat an egg salad sandwich up in the microwave? And I said, no, not this egg salad sandwich, silly. The plate. It's got a gold ring in it. And she's like, what kind of paper plates do you have? And I said, paper plates? Those are for rich people. I'm giving you a china plate. Like, my great grandma sat on these motherfuckers, and they only came out like twice a year. I use them as my everyday plates. She laughed so hard. She's like, girl, if you came to my house and I had to make you a to-go plate, I'd have to put it on my grandma's china too. So apparently we have bougie to-go plates. So there's my fun story about my neighbor. Like, her eyes lit up when I said, do you want some macaroni and cheese and egg salad? She's like, yes, I do. Okay, well, I can help you out with that. So we went from not being friends and looking like we were going to be stark enemies to now we're straight up breaking bread. So, anyway, yeah. I thought, well, she must really trust me, because if you don't take food from people that you don't trust. She must have been having a bad day that day. Well, she won't be my neighbor anymore after the 20th of the month. She's moving out. She really thought it was going to be a good job, and then it turned out to not be such a good job. So she's keeping her job in the other town. She drives like 60 miles a day to and from work. So it's 31 way. And she's not taking the private duty nursing gig. Something got really weird, and she's just like, I am not comfortable with this. So she thinks she might have found a place in Vermont, which I hope she did. It's really hard to find places to rent there in that town. So it works out. And it was really nice. It was really nice to be able to give somebody comfort. Yeah, you get used to it. Shit, Crystal, I used to drive 100 miles round trip to work. I guess she's working on her martinis today. She's working on her gin martinis over there underneath the cedar tree, eating all the juniper berries. I don't know how she knows which ones are right to eat and which ones are not. It's it's a really overcast day here, but it's warm. It's kind of gross feeling. Oh, Tripper, I've always wanted to be, but after seeing like how easy the accidents happen and how quickly shit goes really south quickly, I think I'll pass. I think about that trucker that went through the tunnel down in Green River and ended up uh, causing a really big accident. And then two EMTs, one was killed, one was severely injured. I just think about that. And then you've got to deal with all these other morons on the streets. No, thank you. Huh. No, no, thank you. I mean, if I could drive just the big open areas. But all the roads that I drive right now are all the roads my dad drove me in the pump truck for all those years. Every Saturday we did pump jobs all over the Bighorn Basin. Sometimes his buddy Jay would go with him, and I would then so there'd be somebody to cover my eyes when we'd go over the whoop-de-doos. My dad would drive way too fast in that pump truck over the whoop-de-doo road. The whoop-de-doo road. It was better than a roller coaster. I had never been on a roller coaster until I was like 18. Just didn't do roller coasters. My mom didn't do them. I'd never been to a big theme park or anything like that. So when I was 18 or 19, I was 18 and 19. I went to Salt Lake to see my college best friend and spend a week with her, and we did Lagoon. Oh my gosh, we found a roller coaster, and I liked it, and it was the only ride I rode that day. It's the only ride I rode that day. I got obsessed with this roller coaster. Yep, I don't like roller coasters anymore. It's funny, you get rods in your back and you suddenly can't do all the things that you once did. I mean, you can, but you pay for it and you hurt. What are you doing, Sister Sue? What are you doing? Shit, going down the Nowood Road the other day. Well, the other day, back in October, when I went to my aunt's memorial service. There were a couple dips in that road that I had no fucking clue that were there. Hit them, and oh my god, you talk about, like, I was waiting for the Dukes of Hazzard theme to play when the General Lee jumped. Okay, Lilith, you want a cookie? Come on, let's go get a cookie. You want a minnow? Come on. Addie, come on. Yeah, I'm talking to you. Oh, you're talking to me? Me? Really? Come on. Last night it was a midnight laundry. The time before that, it was going to be a midnight pot roast. Okay. Come here, sugar. Here you go. Sister. Well, I guess we'll all be people watching together because I am not going on those. I'm not going on those rides anymore. Those rides are for people that have like good bodies, not for people with bad bodies like mine. So, I have made a decision about my back, and the doctor's not exactly thrilled with me about it, but it's going to be the way it's going to be for right now because I'm not willing to go through 4 weeks of prophylactic antibiotics on just well, we think it'll work. So, we're not going to mess with the broken hardware. Broken hardware is going to stay in my back at the way it is. I'm going to have the microdiscectomy done, the 2 microdiscectomies done, and that's where we're going to stop because I am not spending all of my summer doctoring. I'm just not. I refuse. The toll that it will take on what little quality of life that I have is not a toll that I'm willing to take this year. So I'll deal with the broken hardware that's in my back, but I'm not going to go through having everything fixed. I'm going to have the bulging spots taken care of. I'm going to have the 2 bulging spots that are taken care of that cause me leg pain and my leg to drop and some SI pain. So that'll be the beginning of August. So, and it might even get pushed to September because it's not going to be what it was. And I'm also afraid that even having surgery in the middle of August, that still puts me like November before I'm fully functioning on my own. And I'm not willing. I'm not willing to go down for that long. I'm just not. So that's the decision that has been made. Everything else will still stay in place. I just won't have to have home care for as long. So, anyway. Physical friends locally, no. Sarah may be here by then, but I'm still planning this without Sarah because we don't know if her house is going to sell. It's been on the market for 4 months now without a single bite. No bites at all. I even came to my real estate friend here and said, hey, look, my best friend has a house that's for sale in Alaska. Here's the listing. Do you know of anybody that wants to move to Alaska? Like, we're at that point of desperation. I'm sure she gets tired of me asking her twice a week, any bites? Because every time that she says no bites, that just makes me go back to my real estate person even harder for her. Anyway. Oh, sis, did you get your ball stuck underneath the couch? And you can't get it? Oh, no, there it is. You brought it out. She's crazy with this green ball. I don't think she realizes the ball's supposed to... Oh, no. You better get it. Get under there and get it. Get under there, get it. Good girl. Get under there, get it. Ball goes under there. I can't get it for you, kid. There you go. Oh, come on, get it. Bring it out. Have a good day, Tripper. She's so silly. Hey, Tammy, how are ya? I was lazy this morning and slept in. It's going to be in August. It's like the... Hold on, let me look at the calendar. It's the second week in August, so it's the week of the 10th. It'll be on the 12th. Wednesday the 12th. Because they originally had me scheduled for Tuesday the 11th, and I was like, oof. That's Grandma's 90th birthday. I just don't think I want to have surgery on her 90th birthday. What would have been her 90th birthday? And then my mom died 8/8, so... Which is also her younger sister's birthday. And then my sister's birthday is August 4th. So... There's a bunch of Leos in my family. My mom was the end of July. My grandparents' anniversary was the end of July. Grandma Icy Creamy's birthday was the 31st of July. And then Jess's is the 4th. Laura's is the 8th. Grandma's is the 11th. So yeah, a bunch of fucking Leos in my family. All the women were Leos. Except me. And my sister Nancy. We're Aries. We just like to fight with the Leos like crazy. Stupid. Nice, Tammy. What did you make for supper? I choked on my coffee yesterday and it made me sneeze. I also think that's why I'm partially so stuffed up because, I mean, I choked hard on my coffee yesterday. It came out everywhere. Well, we'll definitely burn down your house with you in it, Crystal. That is one thing about a fire sign. They will burn your house down with you in it. No worries. No worries at all. Don't you dare move. I'll be right back. Come scurrying back with gasoline and matches. Oh. My headache lip spot. Oh, yum, Tammy. That sounds amazing. Chicken and noodles and apple pie. Can we all just go to Tammy's house for supper? We'll just drive through, okay? We won't even get out. We won't even make you come out. Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm perfect at starting the fire. Listen, I can start one hell of a fire. Oh, my God. Did you guys see? We are 2 weeks into the fucking summer season, and somebody's already lit my state on fire. Up above Cody in the Beartooths, they got a fucking fire already going. Sure, the drive-thru's open. Cool. Tammy, please tell me you don't have bougie paper plates. You can just give it to us on a paper plate so we don't have to bring your hard plate back. I've heard there's 4 or 5 of them that are surrounding us right now. I think there's one up above 10 Sleep. There's one up over by Cook City off of Dead Indian, the Chief Joseph Highway. It's called Dead Indian Pass. There was one other one. Hey, what is true? Hi, Candace. How are ya? Look at that. Tammy's all prepared. Always have to-go plates and serving meal trays. Look at that. So, I think it's time to address something that I heard. I've heard that I've been blamed for reporting Queen. Bitch, you wish I was reporting you. You really wish I was reporting you. No, that's not me. That's because you run a crap-ass channel with crap-ass people, and YouTube's AI have caught on to you. That is nobody reporting you. That is because you run a trash-ass channel with trash-ass people, and you break TOS. And YouTube has employed AI bots that monitor this. You do realize that by the time you've hit end live, there's already an AI chat transcript. I can't see it. It's in the trees. That sounded like a big plane, though. That was a big. Mm-hmm. Dox people, threaten people, but we're gonna blame me for being the one reporting, which I'm not reporting, not by any means. I can show you my report history, and I promise you, not one of them will come back with your channel on it. Not one. Great question. Great question, Candace. How about this one? How about you're stupid and you run in vertical format? So because you run in vertical format, you're getting the vertical format bots that are monitoring both of your live streams. And that's why you're waking up and having to appeal reports. This is all you're doing, not my doing. You're doing. I tried to tell you this months and months and months and months back. Tried to warn you about this. You just told me, yeah, girl, I know what I'm doing. I don't need your help. Okay. Well, you don't get to blame me either. Yes, it's me. Yes, there were over 1 million people yeeted off the platform last month, but somehow it's all me. Yes, it's just me. And the worst part is that our people are dumb enough that they actually believe that. That's the worst part of it. Well, and it's because she's running in vertical format that she's causing herself to be reviewed by bots, because that's what they use in vertical format. Clearly, you are an employee that doesn't know the employer handbook. So busy, Candace. So busy. I must have these reports. I must be able to do these reports with my toes, because I'm over here doing all this other stuff, taking you guys with me. Hey, get in your yard. Come on. Don't just give me stink face. So, maybe learn YouTube before you go pointing fingers. There, queen. She is. She is. She is. I'm sitting in the yard and she's not. She's gonna go play in traffic. Come on. Hey, come on. Let's go get in the yard. I know what you're looking for. You're looking for a bird. Hey, stop. 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 Come here. Yes, I've got sister trained how to do reports on YouTube, on bad YouTubers. I know it's not fun in the yard. I know. That's why we're going in the house. Puppies any day now. Any day now. Francis. I know. So sad. No outside time. No outside time. Mom says no. No more. Well, listen. Let them. Right? I will tell the truth, but let them say what they want to say. I know that she has said, like, I had somebody that gave me a whole breakdown of the shit that she said about me. Okay, great. Let her. Does she realize how dumb that makes her look? You just said all of that about somebody who sat on your panel day in, day out, took a lot of abuse from a lot of people daily because I couldn't pay anything to you to help fight the lawsuit. But okay. Okay, sure. So, yeah, whatever. Yeah, what's the benefit? I'm not even a monetized channel, nor do I plan to be. So what's the benefit of me reporting another channel? Just being a bitch? That's a great question there, what is true? And what's the benefit for me anyway? Nobody gets that. What do you get out of reporting people? I mean, it's more work for me to do and nothing for the people that don't do the things if there's not any payoff, right? Well, okay, so how about this one? Say it actually is me. Let's go with their theory. Say it's me. Why would you want to fuck with somebody that's figured out how to do that to you? Why would you fuck with somebody? Why would you piss at them and pick at them or any of that? Why would you do any of that? If I'm this awful person that's out here making all these fucking reports, if I'm so awful, then why would you fuck with me? Well, sorry, that's not going to work. I stayed 3 months longer than I wanted to stay as it was. But that's not going to work. Well, if I could figure out which one of those two laptops would work right now, but I'm sure both of them need an update because they've been unplugged again for, I don't know, 10 days or 2 weeks or whatever. So I'm sure there's an update that both of them need. And I know that the top one's battery's dead and the bottom one, well, the pink one might not be dead, but it doesn't work as well. Well, Fred, I mean, why wouldn't anybody else think it was that person? I mean, she's putting your name in police reports that, according to you guys, aren't legitimate. But weird, she finds them to be legitimate. Weird, huh? Weird. But Fred, that would be where my guess first went to. I was there 3 months longer than I wanted to be. Whatever. I'd always said, listen, I don't have money to pay for you. I do not have money to give you. What I do have is time. And I have no problem giving my time. But I never want it thrown back in my face that you didn't pay a penny for the lawsuit. Because you're right. I didn't pay a penny. I gave 1,000+ hours every week. That was more, getting her through that lawsuit, that was more than working a full-time fucking job that I didn't get compensated for, while leaving my own channel to flap in the wind. And so many of you were so angry that I wouldn't go live on my own channel, that the only place you could come see me and interact with me was over there on that channel. But whatever, we seem to all forget about that. So many of you, I got so many fucking emails. I could go through my emails, my texts, and I could pull up every email that says, when are you coming back home? When are you going on your own channel? I have no idea what you're talking about, Candace. I don't care. I don't care where you guys go. As long as you guys understand that some of these chats, the only reason to go into them is so that you'll get picked on even more. Whatever. Whatever. Oh. Oh, I get it, Candace. I get it. There were a lot of people that came there because of me. I mean, well, I shouldn't say a lot because I'm on such a smaller scale. But there were several of you that are in here as of today that had the same. They were just mad. I know. You guys wanted a place to go to get away from the drama. My problem is that I was so burnt that I couldn't hold my own live streams either. Well, and that's why Melissa last night was like, come up on panel. And I'm like, nope, retired panel whore. I don't do panels anymore. I don't have to. I don't have to take a link and justify myself to anybody. I'm 50 years old. Leave me alone. Be happy that I finally found my own stride, okay? And be happy that I let you walk alongside of me. Because I take the difficult path. You know, there's generally 3 paths in life: easy, regular, and then hard. I take the hard path. Generally, the trail's not clear. You lose sight of the trail for a little bit. You wander around in the woods. Be nice, Crystal. We don't have to be mean to her. But I want Queen Bella to know that she's still welcome here. I don't know what's going on with those two, but Queen Bella is very much welcome and safe in my chat. I don't know what happened. Oh, we used to work 8-hour days. It'd be 8-hour panels, 2 hours off, and then back on for 4 hours. I know, it was funny. I like Queen Bella, and Melissa's been kind to me. Listen, I know that she's been rough with other people, but Melissa's been kind to me. So it's fine. We just don't have to pile on, right? We don't have to pile on. You don't have to interact with her. But she still comes around here from time to time. And I think it's fair. Not everybody has to like everyone. But we also don't have to pile on, because maybe that person is coming in here because they need what we do. Did you guys think about that? We might not like the people that come in, but maybe they come in because they need what we do. Queen Bella is a national treasure. I don't like people either, Candace, that we have. You want to go outside again? Candace, you can't claim that. You live in the middle of the fucking city. I can claim that I was social distancing before it was popular. Listen, Crystal, if she wants to take all of you guys to her chat, then she can load up her car and she can come in and duct tape you and stick you guys in the car one by one. If that's her goal is to wipe out people's chats, then since you guys know that, then you're not looking to get wiped out, right? So that means if Melissa pulls up and beats the horn, we don't go out and get in her car, right? Okay. Okay. Just know if Melissa beeps her horn, we don't go out and get in the car, okay? Oh, damn it. They're not out here. I think that she might have gotten a bad rap. Oh, she doesn't have a Harley, so you won't be going. I'm not saying kidnap, more like clear out. Oh, well, listen, I can do that all on my own, Crystal. I can do that all on my own. And that everybody knows that she's okay to come in here. Everybody also knows to guard themselves. If they're not comfortable with that person, then they know to protect themselves. Right. We can disagree on some adults and still be friends, right? Listen, I probably have a bigger soft place in my heart for Melissa than I should, and it will probably end up biting me in the ass. I'm relatively sure it will. It always does when my good but that girl is grieving. Melissa is grieving. Melissa is lost so deep in grief that don't you think that maybe some of that grief has something to do with the way she acts? Because she's so sad about losing her daughter. Now, I get that is no reason to act like an asshole. But when you're fighting so hard just to make it through the very basics of your day, so when somebody comes out here and acts a little untoward, I'm willing to give them a little bit of leniency. But I'm also willing to go in and talk to somebody when something like that is going on to see if we can talk through and get to the root of what's causing the aggressive behavior, so to speak, right? Because a lot of times when I pop off, it's because something's not right. Something else in my world isn't right. It's not, but a lot of people use it as therapy. So, what are you going to do? Just on the grief aspect alone, I would welcome her to come in and sit with us because we never know what she's going to pick up listening, right? And I get not every person is out here to work on themselves and make themselves a better version of themselves. That's cool too. You don't got to. But maybe seeing that there's a group of people that meet every day to try to lift each other up and get each other through whatever is going on, and we still come back. We might not agree with it, we might not like it, but we still support and we still meet back up the next morning, right? That's a lot more than some people have out here. That's a lot more than some people have out here. So we have a misfit group where everybody doesn't fit in other places. Oh well. Welcome to being a black sheep. You don't fit in everywhere. Welcome to being handmade. You're not always the chosen project. And on a day that I was having a really bad day, Melissa was there for me. Melissa was there for me. Melissa was there to listen. Melissa was there to talk to me. And I was having a bad fucking day. And she was kind. Now, may that come back and bite me in the ass? Probably it will. But is that going to change why I'm being kind? Nope. Is it going to change me being kind in the future? Nope. Yes, Candace, that exactly right there. It doesn't have to be therapy for someone to learn something that most people don't. Listening in therapy is listening in therapy anyways, so we just have to show people it's okay to be you and to keep living the you and keep living. You are important and matter. Sorry, Candace, I tried to put punctuation in there and pause at the right place so I didn't just read one great big run on sentence. Hey, how'd your mom's eye surgery go, Spitfire? Well, and I love to support Queen Bella. Not a big fan of Emmy, but that's okay. I mean, it's not like I'm asking you to stop supporting those people, Crystal. Oh, I'm a big pain in the ass. What can you say? Accepting that I'm a pain in the ass is like half the battle. Oh, good. I'm glad, Spitfire. I was a little bit worried about that. Come on, sis. Let's go get a cookie. Come on. Come on. Oh my God. 3 times you have to be asked. Come on. I should ask you in a foreign language, I suppose. Okay. You want a cookie? There you go. There's a cookie. I'll be right back. I'm going to go blow my nose. Yeah, awareness is half the battle. I mean, we could go through and we could list 30 names, right? And I bet out of the 30 names that we list, I bet the 26 of us could not agree on all 30 names. So that's fine. It just means that we don't have to pile on. That's it. That's all. We just don't have to pile on. That's really the biggest thing that I'm looking for. Is to make sure nobody piles on, right? Same thing with Brittany. I don't have to be her bestest friend in the world over there braiding my hair into her hair or braiding her hair for her. But I can sit in there and be kind and remind her to press the play. And, hey, maybe you want to see the other video. Oh, that's another question I have. So Queen said I was fucked up for doing what I'm doing with Brittany. What? Fucked up because I reached out to see if my friend was okay? Fucked up because I sit in her chat and remind her to press play? Fucked up because I didn't want her to rant about something that had already been corrected properly? Oh, well, if that makes me fucked up, then I'll stay fucked up. For God's sakes. Talk about somebody who A, doesn't know their job, but fucking B, drives all over the goddamn road. Like, she thinks she's a shot caller out here on this platform. You fucking kidding me? No. No, no. You do realize the average person doesn't like bees, right? They use wasp and hornet killer on them. They smash them with fly swatters. You do realize that you're part of a dying colony, right? And it's only so long before the worker bees get tired of your ass and snuff you out. You know how they get rid of a queen bee, right? All the worker bees pile on her and they legitimately suffocate her. They pile on so that they can cause her body temperature to go up while swarming around, while piling on top of her to prevent her from breathing. They snuff her right out. So that's pretty much the future of you. I don't know what to tell you. Your own fucking bees are going to snuff you out. They're going to get tired of you, and they're all going to sit on top of you, and they're going to snuff you out. I think that's fucked up. That's by your own channel? Really? Ugh. I think I would have been picking my mascot a little bit better. But okay. Okay. How about that? Carry on. Order up. I don't know. Sometimes I just like to do that. Isn't it weird since we called Dinks out, they haven't come back? Since we said that Dinks was Cashmere, they haven't come back. Isn't that weird? Huh. Wild. Anyway, what are you guys going to do today? I think I'm probably going to restart my Paramount subscription. I finished my Audible subscription. I finished my Audible book, and I didn't find any more that were even on the free category that I wanted to listen to. And I can't buy another book until next month. So that's good. You have to go back to Walgreens. Oh, shit. I'm sorry, Spitfire. But be grateful you got a Walgreens to go back to. You were going to start some YouTube drama today, but they're full in that position. Oh, I'm sorry, Crystal. Are you going to try to sign up tomorrow for that position? Maybe you can be first at the line. Does Walgreens deliver Spitfire? Is it something that they can deliver around 4 o'clock? Well, even when we're hating, we're still kind of funny. But you know what I love? You know what I love the most? I love hearing that I'm an awful person. I love hearing that I'm out here reporting people. Because you know what that tells me? That tells me I'm living rent free in that bitch's head. When you're dropping my name out your mouth, left, right, and center, and different times through your life, my name is mentioned. Mm-hmm. That means I'm living rent free in your head, and you're worried that you are doing something naughty that's against the rules, and you're worried that you're going to get caught because somebody's going to tattle on you. Funny thing is that the AI bots are already tattling on you. Oh man, Spitfire. What's up? What is true? Serious question. Don't get mad at me. Uh-oh. Well, we had a good streak rolling. Oh, Tammy, it's going to get worse. Did you hear what I was talking about at the beginning? Do you know why our hamburger prices are up 14% from 2020? Because America's cattle herd is at the smallest number it's been since 1951. It's smaller than it was in 1951. It's the smallest our America's cattle herd has ever been. And the beef futures, they're saying, oh, by 2028 it should be fixed. Well, no, I'm sorry. If you're just figuring this out now in 2026, it's going to be 2029. You need 18 months to get them calves to market. 18 months. Oh, it's lower than the 30s. It's lower than the 30s, Tammy. It's definitely lower than 1951. So beef prices across the board. What is true, there was no friendship. You guys, that's the thing. Nobody ever realized. Everybody thought we were so close. Nope. What you saw on panel was what there was for friendship. And I don't believe that person can miss a friendship because I don't believe that she's a friend to anybody. So if you're not a friend, you can't miss a friendship. Your buddy's loving every minute, every minute of it. Let the prices go up. I'm going to take them to market. Fatten these motherfuckers up. And no, everybody did what is true. Everybody did. And they have that same exactly that shocked feeling that you've got right now is exactly what everybody else has when I tell them, oh, we weren't that friendly. Like whatever you saw on panel was what we had. Yes, the screw worms in Texas. Just go to the doctor and get a little ivermectin. You'll get dewormed. You'll be fine. It's no big deal. Yeah, everybody always thought that like we talked and no. I mean, don't get it wrong. If I needed to talk to her about something, I have her phone number and I could call her and talk to her about it. But nope, 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 nope. Well, I'm not going to be too terribly worried about it because right now I know where our beef comes from that goes into this grocery store. I know who the supplier is. So, we survived YouTube. A little worm ain't anything. It ain't nothing. We can handle it. So, the answer to your question, what is true? No, I don't believe she does. If anything, she might miss the fact of the convenience of having me sit on her panel where she could go off and leave and know that things were going to be just fine when she stepped back, for the most part. There were a couple of times, though, that I was pretty hateful. So, just what it is. There's a joke in that screwworm epidemic somewhere. I just can't quite put my joke brain on it. Something about these women and the fucking how much time they spend on YouTube. They should be going out and eating some beef so they could actually get screwed once in a while. Well, that was in the past tense form, but we're great together. At this point, I don't think it would be advisable to put either one of us on a panel because we would turn into both shrieking banshees and quite frankly, I don't want to. Oh, we got weed whacker here. So I think that means I need to move my side of the fence. You're right, be frank. It is not worth. It's not worth any of our peace. I don't know who this is doing this. That's why I'm standing here looking, being nosy. Oh, oh my goodness! He got down all the burdock. Wow, he got down all the burdock. Are you coming over on this side? Are you coming over on this side at all?
I think probably not today.
Okay.
Cops called about these.
Oh yeah, the burdock.
I think I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna go get some spray sometime this week.
Okay. Just let me know when you do that. I have 2 little dogs.
Okay.
And then This can be moved at any time if you want to get in and do any of that.
Okay.
My little fence, we could you guys can even move it if I'm not out here to move it right away.
I can probably just hop in there too.
Yeah, you can go right in through there and whatever you need. I just wanted to make sure whoever did the lawn knew that. And then if you spray anything on it, just let me know so that I don't send the dogs outside.
Okay. Yeah, I don't. Would you rather me spray in there or not?
I don't care. I eventually am going to get burdock is a pain in the ass. Yes, and the burdock was like 6 foot tall. The burdock was fucking 6 foot tall. It looked like two big wild plants on either side of the door. I mean, this burdock was so fucking big. I just want to make sure if they're going to spray, they give me enough notice so I don't let the dogs out. Big concern. I just don't want to put the dogs as fast as sister is out the door and walking through shit. I don't want. I don't want it. Just let me know when chemicals are being sprayed. That's all I want to know. That's all I want to know. But that burdock just was so fucking tall. And they, like I said, we've got code enforcement that drives around. We saw the truck sitting outside in the street the other day. That's probably what happened. Was on Friday, they went around and they wrote tickets, and that's what he said. The cops called her and said, "Hey, that property needs to have some maintenance done on it." Now you know it looks like a fucking hawk. Because what we find out from the neighbor, it was $208 to get the dog back from code enforcement. And her dog was just between the two dumpsters. Remember we walked out to the dumpster yesterday? Yeah, that's where her dog was, between the two dumpsters in the alley. 2 feet off the property. We got farm coming up next week. Next Monday. We go to the farm. We get to go hang out with Birdie Girl. And the horses, little Chicky Nugget. I'm so excited. I'm not excited to see the condition of his house. Especially after all that good cleaning we did. But it's also been dry too, so it may not be as bad. We've already gone through the mud season. Mud season sucks out here. So, if you didn't watch the little video that I shared on my community wall about the 10 million pounds of food the LDS Church just scuttled throughout the United States, you should really watch it. It's filled with knowledge that the average person probably hasn't thought about. I tend to think that a lot of us over here are above average, so Many of us have thought about it, but it gives it a whole new perspective, especially when you realize that the 14% increase on ground beef that has happened in the last 6 years is here to stay. And it's forecast to get up to 18%, which means you'll be paying approximately $12 to $14 a pound for ground beef. And that's where the new bar will be set. I think it'll be interesting. And then, if you're still bored after that, and then you think you need to go looking for drama, watch the New York Times interview with Scott Pelley. The Scott Pelley interview. Oh my God. You want to cry? You should watch that interview. Hear what they did. Like, Anderson Cooper quit his position, and almost immediately 60 Minutes fell apart. And a 30-year correspondent, gone. A executive director, executive producer, gone. The only one person that knew, and replaced by a new person who had no workings in the news field, had no idea of anything, and read a pre-typed speech off his phone. Yeah, I didn't blame Scott Pelley for saying fuck you, CBS. To think that that man spent nights in foxholes taking fire, and just that simply he could be dismissed from his position. How crazy is that? Somebody who was the face of your network. And then Stephen Colbert, he's done. No more Tonight Show. NBC, CBS, all the mainstream media canceling shows left, right, and center. Why? What are you going to replace it with? Every day, my Google Alerts pops up with something new. Netflix canceled this. Hulu canceled that. NBC canceled this. CBS canceled that. The fuck are we going to watch? What the fuck am I going to do with my Sunday nights now? 6 o'clock, 60 minutes. What the fuck? Tick, 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 tick. Guess I'm grateful that I made it 50 years with 60 minutes. Anyway. I figured it was something else to bitch about that wasn't about YouTube. Anyway, all right. Ooh, the new episodes of Dateline. Yeah. I don't know if it's canceled. Yeah, it's not canceled yet. It's not canceled yet, but they're going to have to do a whole bunch of revamping because all of their faces of 60 Minutes are no longer employed there. Um, Anderson Cooper left because he has two young kids at home. And there was a story told. Anderson told it, and it was about his cameraman and how one day his little boy walking down the street, let go of his dad's hand and he never held his dad's hand again. And Anderson Cooper doesn't want that for his kids. He doesn't want his kids growing up without him being an influence in the home. I can respect that. He had a 30-year career. CNN first, over to CBS, plus all of his independent journalism that he did. But oh my God, could you imagine Ed Bradley, Morley Safer? They're probably rolling over in their fucking graves. Walter Cronkite. Oh, could you imagine? Maybe NBC. Yes, they've got to be Frank. CBS just let a 30-year correspondent go. A 30-year correspondent. That's got to be a slap in the face. And Scott Pelley's interview with the New York Times was just right after everything transpired. It was just like 3 days after everything transpired. He's very raw and emotional. Um, he's very real, raw, and emotional in that. Something that we don't see. We don't see a lot of emotion from Scott Pelley with his reporting. He has a very brave reporter face, and he kind of stays right down the middle. But in this, you actually see emotion from him. There's a couple of times that he's moved to tears. There's a couple of times that you can see him get angry. And you can also tell just by his tone that he's already grieving the career that he lost because it was taken away from him without his choice. Mm. I have found the best go to sleep channel. It's called Boring History to Go to Sleep To. Right now, I'm in the 40s and the 50s, and it talks about all the stuff housewives did. It's Boring History to Go to Sleep To. It's fucking phenomenal. The guy's voice is great, uh, very melodic. I love that channel, but that's what I go to sleep to now. Since it's on YouTube, it's called Boring History to Go to Sleep To. It's the best. They go over like the 1950s housewife routine, what 1950s housewives truly did with their time. Oh, I just got to play with the dog from next door. She's a house hippo. She's totally a house hippo. It's the best to fall asleep to. Talks about how 1950s and 60s housewives, they had house clothes that they wore, and then right before, about an hour before the husband got home, they would just start dinner, and then they would dip into the bedroom and they would make themselves presentable, getting the kids all quiet and calm, so the house is very relaxing when the husband comes home from work. Yes. Yes, I absolutely love that channel because they make it sound like the fairy tale that it was sold to us to be. And really, as an adult, I thought I would be wearing an apron more. As much as I had to wear one as a little kid, you would have think I would be wearing one more now. I did. I really thought I'd be wearing more aprons in my life by this point. But no, not so much. I've thought about ordering. I have a couple of grandma's aprons and a couple of great grandma's aprons. Of course, they don't fit because I've got bigger boobs than both of them had. And they were both very tiny women. I'm pretty fucking thick. But I just really thought I'd be wearing more aprons by this point in my life. I really did. And an old woolen swimsuit, yes? Yes. So I thought my neighbor actually colored her hair because she had come over a month or so ago and asked me if I would help her with her hair. And she's got this gorgeous red curly hair. She's like, I just want to color it. I want to make it kind of blonde. And I was like, oh, God. Oh, dear. You have natural red hair. Do you know what happens when you bleach natural red hair if you're not, like, a trained professional? It turns, like, the color of brass. Ooh, yum, Tammy. Anyway, I seriously thought she had colored her hair. That's the same thing I was trying to convince her of. Well, I thought she finally did it last night because she comes out today and she has this beautiful mane of blonde hair. And it's got just like beach curl waves in it. And I'm like, oh my God, your hair looks gorgeous. You did such a great job on it. Well, that when I muted, she told me it was a wig. I was like, what? That's a wig? She's like, oh yeah, I've got a lot of wigs. I just looked at her. I'm like, that's a wig? It looks like your natural hair. So I guess she doesn't need to color it. She can just put a wig on. That was my whole thought, to be frank, because my sister wanted blonde hair. My redheaded sister wanted to be a blonde once. Oh yeah, that required a visit to the salon, which resulted in her getting her hair cut way short, and she loved her hair after that. She always kept it very, very short. My sister looked like my brother. My brother had long hair, and my sister had short hair. That's the same thing I told her. I'm just like, oh my God, I can't believe you want to put color on this hair. Nope, nope. I can't do that. I'm constitutionally blocked. Anyway. Well, hell. Maybe we should watch the Scott Pelley interview together. Let me see if I can make the TV work. It was such a good interview. It was such a good interview. Okay. Let's see if I can find it. I don't have anything else to do. I'm kind of bored today. It's been a long time since it's made that noise when I turned it on. You're waiting on the verdict and then you're... Okay.
There was a phone scale for the president's.
Okay.
There was a phone scale.
Pause, Scott, please. Okay, let's see. I think I can just take you guys. Let's see. So I can still see what you're saying. I think I can put you guys this way. Whoops, sorry. Whoops. Oh no. Oh no. Okay. Cool. Looks like you can see it pretty good. Oops. We don't want to do that. Oops. Okay. It looks like we can see it pretty good. Let's turn the volume up. Hey, happy feet. $600 sizes and styles of... Oh my goodness. Way to go, happy feet. I bet that felt good to do. We're watching the Scott Pelley interview with the New York Times.
There was a thumb on the scale for the president's version of events that I felt was a level of political influence that I had never seen in 37 years at CBS News.
I'm Lily Garcia Navarro, and this is The Interview. It's hard to overstate the impact of 60 Minutes on journalism.
And that's what cigarettes are for. Most certainly. It's a delivery device for nicotine.
Most people in this country think you are the face of evil, don't they?
I'm just being me.
Since its debut on CBS in 1968, it's been the home of some of the most famous and lauded journalists.
I ask you, as an American,
From Mike Wallace and Ed Bradley, mortar shells going to Leslie Stahl, Anderson Cooper, And until this past week, Scott Pelley.
We don't torture Big Khalid Sheikh Mohammed. We don't torture waterboarding. We do not. I don't talk about techniques.
Pelley was fired after an explosive series of events and much turmoil at CBS, including a controversial financial settlement with President Trump, the sale of the network to David Ellison, and the appointment of Barry Weiss to lead CBS News.
She was putting a thumb on the scale on behalf of the administration.
Pelley, along with a number of other 60 Minutes correspondents who were fired, have now accused Weiss of editorial interference and bias, charges that CBS and Weiss deny. We've included a fuller statement from CBS News at the end of the episode. This is Scott Pelley's first sit-down interview since he was fired. Thank you so much for coming in. I know that this is a very difficult moment. You were just fired from the news organization, which you were at the heart of for 37 years.
I can't believe I'm hearing those words.
CBS News.
Yes.
I want to actually start by just asking you how you're feeling in this moment before we start how you got here.
Well, if we want to talk about it at an emotional level, the best thing that I can imagine in terms of describing it is that it's like your spouse was murdered. There's some moments of the day I feel fine. There's some moments of the day that I just frankly fall apart when I least expect it.
Boy, doesn't that sound a lot like grief? Do you think Scott Pelley's grieving his career? I do. That sounds a lot like what happens to a lot of us that are going through grief, doesn't it? Like some days you're just fine, and then there's other moments you completely fall apart, and you might spend the rest of the day putting yourself back together so that you can be somebody for others.
That there's any particular trigger. But I do want to be clear that I do not feel sorry for me. I don't care about me. I'm fine. I care about these people that I left behind, the people who are still trapped there, and this institution that I love so much. You said that I've been there 37 years. I've been married 42 years. So that's the depth of my devotion.
Let's talk about how we got to this moment.
So he was married 5 years before he started at CBS.
Firing. Several high-profile 60 Minutes correspondents and leaders were fired. Leading up to that, there've been a lot of reporting about changes that were coming to 60 Minutes. Was that the sort of change you were expecting?
No one saw the Black Thursday massacre coming. This is our entire senior staff. People beloved Tanya Simon, our executive producer, she's the boss. And this was her triumph. She's the first woman ever to be executive producer of 60 Minutes. And she concluded this season with a growth in our audience of 9%, which is unheard of in broadcast television, and a growth in our online presence of 190%. Last season, we had 2.5 billion views. That's a third of humanity. So we're riding high. This management team has been brilliant. Tanya has the best first year of any executive producer, and I've worked for all of them. And then the night before, Tanya and I and Dragon Mihailovich, her deputy, etc., we're all at the Emmy Awards, and we went to Emmy Awards. Within hours, all of those people have been wiped out, and 1/3 of our correspondents have been fired.
Jesus
And at the
Christ.
same moment that happens, we are informed of our new executive producer. His name is Nick Bilton. I'm sure he must be a wonderful man, but no one had ever heard of him. He has zero experience in television news, and no experience in management. So imagine how we feel when someone like that comes into a shop like 60 Minutes.
Explain to me exactly how you felt.
Shock, dismay, impossible to believe, searching desperately for an explanation, knowing that an explanation would be forthcoming and then not seeing that. No executive at CBS News, our editor-in-chief, Barry Weiss, coming over to 60 Minutes to explain, to talk with us, to sit with us. That's a family at 60 Minutes. My colleagues and I have worked together 10, 20, 30 years. We travel together. We dine together. We go into literal combat together. My former boss and former producer, Bill Owens, saved my life in a firefight in Iraq. So, Lulu, these bonds are pretty tight. And when somebody wipes out, murders a large number of your family members, people are hurt and shocked, in disbelief, and just desperate for some explanation. And as you and I sit here today, there still has been none.
CBS leadership says that they tried to get in touch with you to talk about all of those changes before Bilton's first day. And you didn't speak to them. Why not?
I'm almost 69 years old, and if I've learned one thing in life, it is not to reflexively react when you feel that way. And I thought, I'm going to give it a day or something. I'm too emotionally wrought up. I'm going to say the wrong thing. I'm not going to hear what they say. This isn't the moment. It was incredible to me that they did reach out to talk to me after wiping all these people out. I mean, within hours. So, we had a baby shower at the house, and we got through the weekend, and I learned that Nick Bilton was going to speak to the 60 Minutes staff on the next Monday morning. And I had a long-planned hiking trip in the Canadian Rockies planned, and I wasn't going to be able to be at the meeting. And she and I talked about it, realized that this was an existential moment for 60 Minutes, so we canceled the vacation so I could be there. And that was the first time that I had an opportunity to meet Nick Bilton.
Guilty.
At that meeting, you spoke up very forcefully. You asked him why he'd taken the job, knowing, and this is a quote, that you will never be welcome here. Why did you decide to have that first interaction with your new boss in public and not behind closed doors?
It wasn't in public. It was behind closed doors.
Mm.
I was with my family in a closed room. None of this was meant to be public.
Mm-hmm.
But Lulu, imagine I'm walking into this room with these people who have devoted their lives to 60 Minutes. They have not received any kind of explanation. They are waiting for Barry Weiss to walk in the room in the hope that she's going to explain why this tragedy has occurred and why it was so necessary. And I'm waiting to see who comes in, and it's Nick Bilton and one of Barry's deputies. No Barry. People are a little shocked by this. As we're standing in there, Nick makes his way to the front of the room and does something absolutely jaw-dropping to me. He pulls out his phone and begins reading a statement off his phone. in a room full of 50 heartbroken people. The callousness, the tone deafness of that, you could hear the groan in the room when that happened.
Could you have imagined being a fly on the wall in that room in that moment? Where the person who now has been appointed to lead you, A, has no management experience, B, has never worked in that line of work. It is 60 minutes. It's not your local news broadcast, right? It's something that, according to what their analytics show, a third of the world's population tunes into, and tuned into last year alone. You know, they said 190% in uptick in online views.
The callousness, the tone deafness of that, you could hear the groan in the room when that happened. They put out a big spread of bagels, like we were all going to feel better. And also, if I can give you a little bit of context,
Please.
what had happened a couple of days before the meeting was so critical. Nick Bolton wrote an email to the staff, sort of introducing himself. And it was so insulting to the staff and so insulting to the history of 60 Minutes. He told us in that email that it wasn't 1968 anymore.
Oh,
And he helpfully noted that gasoline doesn't cost 32 cents anymore. And suggested that we had all been frozen in amber in 1968 when the program first went on the air, and that nothing had improved. And he said in his email that it was, quote, strange, end quote, that 60 Minutes is only on the air at 7 o'clock Eastern Time on Sunday once a week. When we've been on the air 24/7 globally online for well over a decade. It betrayed the fact that Nick Bilton didn't know anything about us, didn't know anything about our culture, and yet was being imposed on us as our new executive producer, our new leader. So people read that memo. It's very concerning. It's heartbreaking. It's hard to compare this to anything other than something that actually could happen to your family. It's a very loving and empathetic organization. And we were met with cold, callous indifference to what anyone thought.
Why did you feel that you were the person that needed to get the answers to the questions that you had and everyone had at that meeting? Why did you feel compelled to speak up?
It was fate. First of all, our entire senior staff had been wiped out. They're not there. I looked around the room. I'm the only correspondent there, which surprised me very much. I learned that my colleagues were out shooting stories, as they should be in the month of June. But I'm the only correspondent there, which surprised me. And I looked around at my friends and colleagues in the room and realized I was the senior person. Only I could do it. None of them could be asked to take that risk. So when I saw Nick Bilton's email and then saw him reading to my broken-hearted people off his phone, I felt that somebody had to stand up for the broadcast, not just the broadcast, but the people. There are people in that room who go to war zones when they are pregnant. Newsrooms are sort of like the military or the police or the beautiful people at the FDNY down the street. It is a life-threatening job in many instances. And very strong bonds, very emotional bonds are found or are developed in that kind of setting. And to have people running CBS News who don't know that, have never felt that, and don't understand it is a tragedy I never expected to see.
You know, Barry Weiss came into the job with a mandate to evolve and modernize CBS News, to reinvent legacy media. In that meeting, you said Weiss was, and I'm quoting him, murdering 60 Minutes, language that you've used here. Can you explain to me what you mean by that? You're using words like massacre, murder. What do you mean by that?
Is the wholesale nature of it? Are senior staff wiped out after a triumphal?
I think it's real, Happy Feet.
If the ratings had collapsed or there was some journalistic scandal about a story, then okay, we deserve it. But we had a triumphal year, so this is incredibly difficult to understand. Cecilia Vega, Sharon Alfonsi, our very best correspondents.
One of the things that I'm noticing in this interview, Happy Feet, is that he is, look at the way he's demonstrating emotion versus the way when he reports. This is something very passionate to him. Crazy enough, I've had this weird obsession with 60 Minutes my whole entire life. It was growing up, I couldn't wait till Sunday evening, 6 o'clock. Everybody had to be quiet. The stopwatch was ticking. Like, nobody got to talk. Everybody, even in the commercial breaks, you had to be quiet because otherwise you weren't going to get to watch the rest of the show. So as somebody who's grown up watching Scott Pelley, yeah, I believe that we are seeing real, raw emotion in this. I could be wrong. He could be a really good actor. But what he describes is grieving a career that he no longer has, something that he gave his life for. Oh, they did. There were many correspondents during the Gulf War. Even regular reporting, there's been many that will be pregnant and go into combat. It makes me wonder if maybe he knows of somebody who he's holding back a lot, I believe, emotion-wise, but I believe that because you can actually see him at one point in there when he was talking, right before he touched his pointer finger to his lip, it was almost like he reset himself because he was getting really emotional. And then he took a great big breath, and then like the finger came up, touched the lip, went back down, and by the time it went back down, he was righted and back into that focused, what the hell is the word I'm looking for? Yep. It was a Sunday staple in our house. You had dinner at 5 o'clock, had supper at 5 o'clock, and got the dishes done. Supper was done by 5:30. I had half an hour to get the kitchen cleaned up, everything put away, and to slide in to my spot on the couch amongst the other littles and watch 60 Minutes. And it was the only quiet time in our house. Well, it was one of very few quiet moments in our house. Yeah, I really think it's real emotion. I think that this really, I think this really knocked him for a loop. Um, and you have to also think about it. I mean, what did the interview open with? They opened with a statement about, with Scott Pelley making a statement about, this essentially boiled down to either the network got on board with supporting Trump's narrative, or you weren't there anymore. And it's ironic that all of this comes right on the heels of Anderson Cooper signing off, right? So did Anderson Cooper have more pull with the higher ups, or did they know that now they could, maybe Anderson had more pull with the staffers, right? Because maybe if they would have made those changes, they would have had to have fought him too on his thoughts. Maybe Anderson knew these changes were coming, and that's why he decided, you know what, now's the time to exit stage right, and I can raise my children. I can participate in my children's lives. I think he was going to be fired too, pretty much like what happened to Scott Pelley. He'll go on to talk in the interview about like what actually caused him to no longer be employed. So we'll go back in and listen. It was perfect time to take a break, and I think he was going to be forced out. But also, I have to wonder, because he has his own podcast too about grief, and he's been really working hard to process his grief from the death of his brother, his father, his mother's passing. The Anderson Cooper interview is really good too. It's fucking phenomenal. His talk that he gave at the end of 60 Minutes, and then there's another interview with him where he just, and you can tell that it sounds like there was something more that was the driving force behind it. And then now looking, after seeing that interview and wondering, I wonder what else was going on. And then seeing that Scott Pelley has come out, and he's very candid in this interview. But could you imagine being a reporter? And CBS was always one of those that kind of towed down. Yeah, I do too, be frank. I do too. And he just realized it was also the perfect opportunity to get out so that he could be there with his children, right? And I don't fault him for that, because there's a lot of women that exit the workforce, executive women that are in high positions. And once they have a baby, it changes something for them, and they would rather do that, right, than come home or go to work every day. Or there's a lot of women that were forced out. I mean, I think of, anyway. I just think Scott Pelley was reporting on all of that. He was reporting on all of it. Okay. But the Anderson Cooper interview is really good too. It's better than the bullshit that we're used to seeing. Oh, I did it again. I loosened the bolt. Oh! Damn it. There it goes. Okay.
Okay, we deserve it. But we had a triumphal year, so this is incredibly difficult to understand. Cecilia Vega, Sharon Alfonso, our very best correspondents, just summarily fired for no stated reason and without explanation. This is 1/3 of our correspondent corps. So this isn't like they fired our boss.
Candace, you're hiding people again.
They wiped out a large number of people. One of the things Nick Bilton said in that ill-fated email to the staff was that he was excited to tell, I'm paraphrasing here, he was excited to tell the staff about the new crop of correspondence.
Candace, unhide Three Little Birds.
I thought, okay, they're going to fire all of us.
Three Little Birds, sorry about that.
That's the plan. He put it in writing for all of us to see. And so that's why I use these, admittedly for a journalist, hyperbolic terms. They capture the scale
Hold on.
of what happened.
You then do have a meeting with CBS leadership after this very contentious interaction. Can you tell me about that meeting and if you were at that point going in expecting to be fired?
Oh, gosh.
Hey, Ange.
Furthest thing from my mind. It hadn't
I don't
come
know.
to me.
Sorry, Three Little Birds.
CBS
We'll have to
News,
sort it out later.
Sent me a note and said, can you come by and talk to us? And I said, absolutely. I scheduled about an hour on my calendar for the meeting. I didn't know who was going to be there in the meeting. So I walk in the door and I see Barry Weiss is sitting in there, and I think, this is terrific of her. She's come to this meeting, and now I'm going to be able to ask her these questions. She's going to be able to explain what happened.
But it really didn't occur to you that you could be fired after so many of your colleagues had been let go, after you'd had this very contentious interaction with your new boss?
You know, some reporter I turned out to be. I just didn't connect the dots. I mean, was this meeting contentious? Yes, but 60 Minutes is known for two things: a ticking stopwatch and hard questions. And we ask ourselves those hard questions in the shop because they sharpen us and make us better. There was a screening once with Mike Wallace, and Mike and the executive producer and founder of 60 Minutes, Don Hewitt, got into a big argument about a script. Wallace jumps up in the middle of the screening, throws the script up in the air, and yells at Don, well, then you write the effing thing. One of those pieces of paper comes down and slices an associate producer across the face. He's bleeding now. He's got a paper cut on his face. That was about a story. The meeting that I was in was about whether 60 Minutes was going to even survive or not.
So you walk in, and what was the energy of the room?
Hostile. Dismissive. Before I could take my seat, Tom Sobrowski said, this is a firing offense. I was confused. I wasn't sure who he was talking about in the room. But it became plain very quickly that they were talking about me, and they were unhappy about the meeting that had occurred. A meeting that had ended in thunderous applause for me, if I may say so, because somebody had stood up for the broadcast. So I sit down. Okay, well, let's talk about it. Tom accuses me of physically abusing Nick Bilton. This
What?
is a lie. I didn't come within 10 feet of Nick Bilton. In my life, I have never put my hands on anyone in anger. Not one time. And when he was caught in that lie, he said, well, okay, I take that back. And I said, great. Conversation proceeded a little bit. I turned to Barry Weiss, who was sitting to my left, and I said, but let's talk about the firings. Why were the firings necessary? I'm not answering that question. Well, how did Tanya Simon not lead the broadcast brilliantly? I'm not answering that question. Okay, Sharon Alfonsi, Cecilia Vega. What possible reason could there be to take them off the air? I'm not answering that question. So now I'm detecting a pattern. That's going to go nowhere. She is still going to stonewall about why she took all these people out. So I'm thinking that the meeting's going to carry on. We're going to have a long conversation. I'm going to hear from them about what they think. They're going to hear from me about what I think. The temperature in the room is low, but it's very hostile from their side. I'm speaking about the way I'm speaking to you now. Very quickly after the meeting began, Tom Sobrowski said, this conversation is over. I was stunned. I didn't have a 60-minute stopwatch in that room. I don't know how long it lasted, really, but I think it was about 10 minutes. So they tell me, that is to say, Tom Sobrowski tells me as I'm walking through the door, you'll have our answer in a few minutes. I went over to my office, and much to my surprise, all of my guys on my team were still there. They wanted to know what happened in the meeting. What was that all about? Did they explain why our people were fired? And I sat down in my office. It has a big plate glass window that looks out on the newsroom. And there were a whole bunch of people standing out there, but I didn't think anything of it. I'm waiting to find out what my fate is. I explained to my team, I think I just got fired, but they haven't told me that. And then I look up and all those people are still out there, and the staff members, and I don't think anything of it. And then it hits me. This is a vigil. An hour goes by, 2 hours go by, 3 hours go by, 4 hours go by, and I go back outside and said, I'm leaving. I've been standing out there for 4 hours. I said, I'm leaving. You guys have got to go home to your families right now. I doubt they're going to tell me tonight. So I packed up and left just so those people would go home. And not long after that, the email came through and said that I'd been fired.
Just to understand your position in this, you would have been open to a path forward? You wanted to remain at 60 Minutes?
Absolutely. The path forward to me was a obvious conclusion for what this meeting was going to be about. That's exactly what I thought. And I expected them to say, look, this is why we had to fire everybody. I mean, your questions, Scott, are valid, and here's why we did what we did. So stay at 60 Minutes? Absolutely. It didn't occur to me that this could happen.
But Scott, in a meeting, you accused Barry Weiss, the head of the network, of wanting to murder the show, of coming into 60 Minutes with the agenda to dismantle the institution, and you did not think that that was going to have repercussions that could lead to your firing?
We used to be able to have conversations like that at CBS News. The difference today is that the people running CBS News will not be questioned.
I want to take a step back.
How chicken shit. They waited until he packed up and left. And then they send him the email that says, "You're fired." He's probably got a contract. I mean, 37 years in the business, one would think he has some sort of something or other. Unless we're at the end. I mean, it is June. They would be shooting a lot of stuff that would be shown in the fall, but wow. Wow. And then him saying some reporter he is, right?
Because, of course, all this didn't happen in a vacuum. The saga really at CBS News began when David Ellison, the son of Oracle billionaire Larry Ellison, took over CBS as part of his purchase of Paramount. There was a lot of turmoil around that sale. The longtime previous owner of Paramount and CBS, Sherry Redstone, told my New York Times colleague that she sold the company to Ellison in part because after Hamas's attack on Israel on October 7th, she wanted to devote herself to causes around Israel. I'm sure there were other reasons as well. Did you ever speak to Ms. Redstone about the sale, and how did you feel about it?
I didn't speak to Sherry Redstone about the sale. I felt the sale was very necessary. The company was in financial trouble. It wasn't clear what our path forward was going to be just as a company. Mr. Ellison came in with a lot of money behind him, a young man of vision, and I thought this is going to be very good for all of us. The very last thing that the previous ownership did was pay a multi-million-dollar bribe to the president to settle this frivolous, ridiculous lawsuit. And very shortly after that, somehow, the Trump administration approved the sale. So that lawsuiting in 60 Minutes had caused a great deal of concern in 60 Minutes. Paying the bribe broke our hearts. No lawyer thought that was necessary, but they did it to get the sale through. And at that point, my colleagues and I thought, great, that's behind us. We have bright new leadership with financial resources. We're in better shape than we were before. That was the theory.
Just to give the context here, President Trump had sued 60 Minutes, President Kamala Harris during the 2024 election. As you mentioned, Paramount under Sherry Redstone settled the case, even though many legal experts believed that there was no merit to the suit, and they paid $16 million to the president. Paramount denied that those two things were linked, that payment and then the deal going through. And correct me if I'm wrong, am I hearing you say that you supported the sale to Ellison? Had you lost confidence in the leadership of Sherry Redstone at that point?
They bribed the president to get the deal done. So, yeah, there was a massive collapse of confidence in the previous ownership.
So the deal...
So think about that. A reporter knows that they bribed the president to get an acquisition to go through. Because Ellison is now acquiring Paramount from his former owner, Ms. Redburn. And they had to bribe the president to get this to go through. And one of your anchor correspondents knows this. What's the chances Anderson Cooper knew this too? Do you think that's why Anderson left? I am beginning to... Well, if Scott Pelley learned all this shit, I bet you the month before, that's what Anderson Cooper learned too. Wow.
And correct me if I'm wrong, am I hearing you say that you supported the sale to Ellison? Had you lost confidence in the leadership of Sherry Redstone?
Oh, Redstone, not Redburn.
He
Sorry.
bribed the president to get the deal done. So, yeah, there was a massive collapse of confidence in previous ownership.
So the deal goes through and Ellison takes over. What assurances, if any, did you get from David Ellison and the new leadership that there wouldn't be interference at 60 Minutes? Did you ask for those assurances? Did you speak with David Ellison?
The morning the merger was announced as complete, I was amazed that, as far as I know, the first stop that David Ellison made in his new empire was 60 Minutes, CBS News. First thing in the morning, he's walking through the 60 Minutes offices. He walks into my office and extends his hand and says, "I'm proud to meet you, sir." He called me. I guess I'm just old. But, and I told him how wonderful it was to meet him. He walked out into our newsroom and made a very nice speech about independence, about how important 60 Minutes was to the corporation writ large, and essentially telling everybody that they were going to take care of us. We were walking on air. We liked him. He had the financial backing to back up his words. And we thought a bright new era was coming after all the previous difficulty.
Ellison then hires Barry Weiss to run CBS News. Weiss, we should say, is a former opinion writer at the New York Times who left to start her own publication after claiming bias in the Times opinion section. I never worked with her, for the record. The Free Press, which she launched, is generally pro-Israel.
Think about that. Hang on. Okay, we got to take her out. Come on, sis. Think about that for just a moment. So, the woman that they brought in, Sherry Redstone, okay, that was an op-ed, what did she say? Did she say op-ed or did she say opinion writer for the Times? I mean, that's still very prestigious. It's still working for the Times. Come on, sister. Hey, come here. Hold on. Okay. I had to get the fox head out of the front of her chest. Okay. So she left, Sherry Redstone left her position at the New York Times, right? She left her position claiming bias. Yet, it sounds like a whole bunch of bias happened that resulted in the president being bribed to allow an acquisition to go through, appointing a person who left her last position claiming bias. What a clusterfuck. What an absolute clusterfuck, right? And am I understanding that correctly? I mean, I'm over fucking Walgreens. Damn it, Walgreens. Holy grasshopper. Okay, well, take a breath. Number one. It's okay to be frustrated with the pharmacy process. It is not okay to act all crazy outwardly in public. That results in some tickets and can result in you not being allowed to go back to that location. So let's go ahead and slow our roll. Big breath in through the nose. 2, 3, 4. Let it out. 2, 3, 4. Okay. Take your jaw, slide it to the right. While it's slid to the right, touch your tongue to the roof of your mouth. Take a deep breath in. Exhale. Again, keeping the tongue against the roof of the mouth, the jaw jetted over to the right. Now, let's go ahead and slide your jaw over to the left. Touch your tongue to the roof of your mouth again. Take a big breath in through your nose. Hold it. Let it out. Okay? Now, let your jaw remain neutral. Touch the tongue to the roof of the mouth. Now we're going to take one more big breath in through the nose. Hold it. And let it out. All right. Congratulations. You just activated your parasympathetic nerve, resulting in your loss of fight or flight. Pretty cool trick, huh? You should now realize that your shoulders are not up by your ears and your tongue is not pressed to the roof of your mouth, and you should feel a little bit better. You're welcome. All right. So it's not a bad life. It's nothing to get all pissy about. Listen, just take a breath and let's go ahead and think about this process. And maybe they just need to make a phone call. Maybe it's a prior authorization. Is it something she needs right this minute, or is it something that can wait till tomorrow morning so then they can make the phone calls that they need to make because it's getting closer to the end of the day? And it's not their fault that their operation doesn't run as smoothly as it should. That's the corporation that they work for's fault. These are human beings that are a cog in the machine, and when the machine doesn't function properly, then the human beings are going to be the ones snapped at. Wow, don't we all just feel better? A little bit lighter. Don't really want to come across the counter and choke somebody because your parasympathetic nerve is now active and your fight or flight is at ease. Whew. That was a near miss. Well, they need to check their system. Maybe it got filed under the first letter of her the first letter of her first name instead of her last name. Okay. Let's go back to Scott Pelley. Come on, kiddo. Come on, kiddo. Come on. Let's go back to the Scott Pelley interview. Come on. Oh my God. Headstrong and stubborn. Come on. So apparently now we're going to wait till our full name is called, along with it's time to go inside, before we decide that we're going to get out of our play yard. Oh boy, this one's going to give me gray hair before I know it. Okay. All right. And here we go back to our interview. Oh, son of a bitch.
Is a former opinion writer at the New York Times who left to start her own publication after claiming bias in the Times opinion section. I never worked with her, for the record. The Free Press, which she launched, is generally pro-Israel. It bills itself as pushing against what it sees as the mainstream media. What did you make of her appointment?
I was not familiar with her name. So I did some research and discovered those things that you just outlined. She was going to be the new editor-in-chief at CBS News. There never had been a title like that at CBS News. It's sort of a print title. It doesn't really translate to television, but she wanted to call herself that. What concerned me was that she had zero television experience and had never managed a large global operation like CBS News. Those were red flags to me, but I thought, David Ellison thinks she's the right person for the job. We are absolutely going to welcome her, listen to her, and give her the benefit of the doubt.
I mean, I'm surprised that you hadn't heard of her. She's a lightning rod in journalism.
She just hadn't crossed my radar. And if I hadn't heard of Barry Weiss at that point in time, that probably tells you more about me than it does her.
So when Barry comes in, she has a meeting with senior 60 Minutes staffers. And in that meeting, she asked, and I'm quoting, why does the country think you're biased? Is that a correct assessment of that?
I wasn't there.
I see.
But that is what I've been told by my colleagues who were there. And they were shocked. That was sort of her hello to the staff at 60 Minutes.
What was the feeling about that particular opening salvo to the team?
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
She, I am told, said something to the effect of, why do you think the country thinks you're biased? But she didn't offer any kind of a metric. What's your metric? Why do you think so? Do you have a poll? Is there market research? What are you talking about? Because we certainly didn't believe that. And we just felt that she was making statements that perhaps she couldn't back up, and was coming into the news division with hardened, preconceived notions that didn't seem to be thought through.
You have now accused Weiss of injecting, and I'm quoting here, falsehoods and bias. This was in your parting statement.
Oh, hey, Peanut. You're welcome. You're welcome. I forgot about that rescue technique. Remember I told you the other day that I had a whole toolbox of tips, tricks, and tools that my therapist has given me to be able to calm myself when my anxiety gets really bad or any of that. That right there, that can be a lifesaver. Because a lot of us, the minute we get frustrated, we go into fight or flight because it's like, fuck, I know what this is going to do, right? I know what this roadblock or this problem that's been set in front of me, I know what it's going to cause. I know that there's going to be fallout from it. So when you get that feeling, if you do that breathing technique, you can keep the bad from happening. Well, I mean, that's relevant, right? Because you can't keep bad from happening, but you can control your response to the bad that's about to happen with your full brain and not just your base caveman brain, if that makes sense. Right? Like, instead of just using half of your brain or the little bit of your brain that you use during fight or flight, it allows you to use your whole brain while keeping your shit together. And then you being like, oh, wow, hey, oh, yeah, I'm not quite the moron that I thought I was. Anyway, that's just... glad you enjoy. So let's finish the Scott Pelley interview.
His division with hardened, preconceived notions that didn't seem to be thought through.
You have now accused Weiss of injecting, and I'm quoting here, falsehoods and bias. This was in your parting statement into at least one of your politically sensitive stories. Can you tell me the nature of that complaint? What did she specifically ask for? What story are you talking about?
As I recall, that's February, and my team and I are doing a story about the protests in Minneapolis against the ICE crackdown there. We've interviewed Senator Rand Paul, Republican, because he's going to hold hearings into this, and the fact that a Republican was going to do that was quite newsworthy. So we interviewed Senator Paul and then built out a story about what had happened. The killing of Renee Good, the killing of Alex Preddy, the protests. I felt it was very important to identify that the protesters themselves were being very aggressive and that they were half of these confrontations. And so I instructed my producers to find.
Well, I mean, he's right. We watched it happen. We watched the protesters escalate. Again, nobody deserves to die. However, in high intense situations, not everybody's going to have a cooler head.
Find images over the past few weeks of these protests in which we see the protesters acting aggressively. We found a picture of a protester chest bumping an officer. We found a picture of an officer being hit in the head with a snowball. We culled together a lot of video of protesters screaming in the faces of officers because we were going to talk about the killing of Petty and the killing of Good, and it seemed to me important to tell the audience about the entire context. In fact, I remember writing a line in the story that said that the protesters were pushing the boundaries of what it means to peacefully assemble, taking the language from the First Amendment. Now, I thought we'd done a really good job with this. We also included a picture of Alex Preddy before he was killed, kicking out a taillight on a police car, and made a point of saying, this is Alex Preddy, and this is what he did. So the story goes through screenings. It's very well received. There are notes, as always, and we do rewrites, as always. But this is on a very tight deadline. It's Sunday. We're going on the air that night. And in the case of stories that are, as we say, crashing, meaning right against the deadline, our deadline on Sunday is noon. So we work on all of these things. We get the piece approved by everyone. And about 4 hours after our deadline, Barry Weiss sends an email to my boss, Tony Simon. Two of the things in the email include, can we make the protesters look more violent?
Oh,
Now, I'm paraphrasing. I don't have the quote, but that's what was communicated to me. And the other thing was Renee Good's car. You need to describe her as driving toward the officer.
oh,
This is not what you see on video. On video, you see the officer standing slightly off the front of the car, and you clearly see Miss Good's wheels turned completely as far as they will go, away from the officer. But he shoots her in the head, kills her, and says something about her in that moment that I can't repeat in polite company. So we have gone out of our way in our plan from the very beginning to show the protesters for the responsibility that they had. We had already scrubbed the video archives looking for those scenes, but it somehow wasn't enough for Miss Weiss. The video showed that the officer wasn't standing in front of the car and she wasn't driving toward him, but that's what the president said about that, and that's the way she wanted it described.
To be clear, there
Oh.
were lots of videos that showed different moments of that interaction, and there was many analyses subsequently about what exactly through those various videos had actually happened.
Including an excellent one by the New York Times. The video that I showed in our piece clearly showed the officer's feet. So if he's standing in front of the car, you can't see his feet. And it very clearly showed that the wheels were turned away from him, what appeared to be the maximum turn until the wheel had stopped.
So you get those suggestions, feedback from the sort of editorial chief of CBS News. What did you do? I mean, did you do as she asked?
I asked my producers, look, I told you to find violent video of the protesters so we can represent that accurately. Now, I want you to go back and look again. Did we leave anything out that's important? What did we make a mistake here? I don't think so, but go back and look. And then I sat down with a video editor and I went over the video of the Renee Good killing over and over and over again, stop motion, slow motion, etc., and realized that the event was not as the president said and not the way Barry Weiss remembered it. And so it's late. Our deadline was noon. It's now almost 5 o'clock. That's dangerous as hell. And so I decided that I wouldn't do those things. I wasn't going to get in a debate about it. I wasn't going to call Barry Weiss about it. I was just going to refuse to make those changes.
Did you change any language in the broadcast? Anything?
Not that I recall based on her notes, but as you probably are aware, when you're doing a story, especially on deadline, a lot of things happen, there's a lot of input, and you're just scrambling to save everybody's skin because you're going to have a crash, which is what happened.
Oh.
Next day, I didn't hear anything. Nobody called, nobody said anything. It occurred to me that maybe Barry Weiss didn't see the broadcast and didn't realize that those changes hadn't been made. But that's how that happened. There was a thumb on the scale for the president's version of events that I felt was a level of political influence that I had never seen in 37 years at CBS News.
Wow.
Why was that the interpretation? I mean, could she not have been trying to be fair to the administration at a moment of very high tension?
She could have been trying to be fair to the administration, except I felt that the story was abundantly fair to the administration and to the ICE officers and to the Border Patrol officers who were caught in that moment. We were being told to write a version of events that conflicted with the video account. I couldn't understand that. We had already done, in my view, the important work of journalism to balance the story. Fine, the story's not out of balance. It's not out of balance. But there was a thumb on the scale to push the balance a little further in another direction.
Is it possible to see this as the system working? She had notes, you felt they didn't make sense to take, the piece ran, and there was no retaliation.
Well, it's the interference is a problem, especially a story that's been approved by the top editors. And the bigger problem, Lulu, frankly, is not any kind of political influence. The problem was the incompetence. You don't break a deadline. Now this is 4 hours after. That episode of 60 Minutes came within 19 minutes of not making air.
Oh my God.
Hour of 60 Minutes. It was the night of the Grammys. 60 Minutes was the lead into the Grammys. And we almost didn't have a broadcast. 19 minutes. I can't imagine that's ever happened before. And I pledged to myself at that time that no matter what Barry Weiss wanted to do in a story, I would never break the deadline again, because we put the entire network in jeopardy.
Scott, I want to ask you point blank. What did you think was going on with Barry Weiss? Why did you think she was asking for these things?
The impression that I had at the moment was that she was representing. I kind of need to be a little bit careful here because I don't want to be hyperbolic. My impression at the time was that she was putting a thumb in the scale on behalf of the administration. Just constantly looking out for the views of the president. We're reporting those views. There's nothing wrong with reporting those views, but it was never enough. Always needed more from the president, from the administration, that sort of thing. The balance was off. We've been working for balance for decades, and for the first time in my career, the balance was off.
I mean, we should say Cecilia Vega, who was recently fired, also alleged interference in 60 Minutes after she was let go. Sharon
Thank you,
Alfonso
Candace.
as well, you are now doing the same. These are three.
You're back, three little birds.
highly
Sorry about
respected,
that.
Longtime journalists who are basically echoing the same claim. CBS has denied any bias or interference, saying in a recent statement that changes and disputes were merely the, quote, normal back and forth between editor and correspondent that happens in every newsroom. I just want to pause before we go on. A more generous interpretation of Weiss's tenure might be that
It's
her
okay.
missteps
I remembered you
happened
dropped your
due to a
phone in the
lack of
water. It's fine.
experience, not deliberate bias or malice. You know, just thinking again about your comment about her murdering 60 Minutes, could inexperience be the real problem and less a conspiracy to do away with CBS News?
I think inexperience is the larger part of the problem. At a certain point, I began to think that a political bias was going to be our big problem. And then later, it occurred to me that it was the inexperience, the incompetence that was the bigger problem, the breaking of deadlines, all that kind of thing. I will never do that again. That was an existential experience. I mean, we are required to do our jobs. And so the most difficult thing, I think, for the staff is trying to make up for all of these missteps in terms of our production, in terms of the technical aspects of television. It's been enormously stressful.
Another high-profile 60 Minutes host, Anderson Cooper, declined to renew his contract this year. And at the end of his final show, he went on air and said, "I hope 60 Minutes remains 60 Minutes." That was seen as a swipe at Barry Weiss. Did you talk to Anderson about why he did not renew his contract and his reasons for leaving?
I did not.
Okay. Was his declining to renew his contract seen as a problem for 60 Minutes or a sign that something was amiss? I mean, how did you receive that news?
Well, correspondents don't resign from 60 Minutes. It's for people like me. It's the greatest job in the world. There is nothing else to aspire to. And so if a person of Anderson Cooper's stature decides that he has to leave the broadcast, that's an indication that he has found his role there untenable.
It's been reported that Barry Weiss was upset that Anderson Cooper's comments had aired in that way.
That's my understanding.
Do you think that was part of the reason executive producer Tanya Simon was let go?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes. My understanding from people directly involved in that interaction is that Barry Weiss was quite livid that Anderson Cooper was allowed to say those things, and that Barry was not consulted beforehand, which in our normal course of business would not have been done anyway. And I believe that that was part of the reason Tanya was let go. But she wasn't let go for cause. She was let go to create a space for the new person, Nick Milton, to come in. Tanya was completely blindsided by this.
Hey, Doodles, yeah, nobody's chatting.
That she was coming into a meeting to discuss the past season and the next season. Kind of a lessons learned and planning meeting. So she doesn't go there with a lawyer or with a witness of any kind. She walks in, she sits down. I'm told that Tom Sobrowski and Barry Weiss are in there. And Tom starts the meeting with, the nature of this meeting has changed. We're letting you go. And just told her she was fired. And had to get out of her office by 5 o'clock. Can I give you a little bit of background? The Simon family is legendary at CBS News. Her father was a famous Vietnam correspondent, and then Bob Simon covered every single war, everywhere in the world, throughout his entire career.
Yeah, Bob Simon.
In Kuwait during the Gulf War in 1990. We would stand on the roof of the hotel and watch the missiles come in. He taught me how to be a war correspondent. And then Tanya Simon comes in. She's at the broadcast 30 years. There is no respect for that. Get out of the office by 5 o'clock. What company in the world treats their precious people in that way? The callousness, the inhumanity, breathtaking, complete lack of empathy in this management for anyone who works there. How can you have someone who deserves so much respect? Tanya Simon spent her whole childhood waiting for the call that her father was dead, never knowing if she would ever see him again. Her whole childhood.
Yep.
Get out by 5 o'clock. Make of that what you will.
I can hear how much this has hurt you.
Yes, it's like your spouse being murdered. And I don't care about me. It's not about me. I am not emotional about this because I have lost this job. I've done it for a long time. I've had the greatest experiences. But the people I leave behind, treated in this way, that breaks my heart. And it's going to take me a long time to get over, to be perfectly honest.
One of the arguments that Barry Weiss has made about 60 Minutes and CBS News is that they need to be brought into the modern era. Nick Bilton also said in a staff meeting with you that broadcast is an ice cube that is melting. Do you think they have a point and that 60 Minutes needs to change, even if it's reaching a huge audience now? Does its metabolism, do the kinds of correspondence that it has, have to change to reach a younger audience that interacts with media in a completely different way and looks at journalists, perhaps like you, as something from a different era?
Too old. Of course, we have to reach out to a younger and younger audience. But their argument about joining the internet age is just disingenuous. It's almost as if Barry Weiss and Nick Bilton were sealed in a time capsule in 1990, and it just cracked open. They just discovered the internet, and they're running around telling everybody how important it is. CBS News, join the fight. We started our first.
Oh my God. Scott Pelley was fired from 60 Minutes like a month after Anderson Cooper declined to renew his contract. And after that happened, it just started a whole chopping block of people, one of which being Tanya Simon. You just heard Bob Simon has covered every war. Scott Pelley is who came in to be trained under Bob Simon. Tanya Simon legitimately followed in her father's footsteps in the news industry. She grew up watching her father report out in the field. He was a war correspondent. He put himself into the war zones. So she dedicated her life, a 30-year career, to the same company her father worked for, to be fired. Just gone. Essentially 2 legacies wiped out in one. Boop. So this has been really eye-opening. Yeah. But see how quickly he turned that around, where they said that it was like 60 Minutes was cast in amber in 1968 when it allowed its first episode to air. He just flipped it around to 1990, and the internet's brand new. Good job, Scott. Good job.
Capsule in 1990, and it just cracked open. They just discovered the internet, and they're running around telling everybody how important it is. And CBS News, join the fight. we started our first 60 Minutes online show, 60 Minutes Overtime, in 2010. I shoot TikTok verticals, or I used to shoot TikTok verticals on every assignment. I shot material for overtime on every assignment. We're there. We're everywhere.
So you don't think 60 Minutes needs to change?
My point is that 60 Minutes is constantly changing, constantly innovating. So I just find the charge that we at 60 Minutes were frozen in amber in 1968 and nothing's ever changed since then. I find that absolutely absurd, and the kind of argument that would be made by people who just don't know what we are.
Nick Bilton sent a very conciliatory note to the staff this past week.
At last.
He promised editorial independence. He praised some of your longtime colleagues, Leslie Stahl, Bill Whitaker, John Wortham. And I just want to say my producer just told me that while we've been talking, those three released a statement that they are staying at 60 Minutes. How does that make you feel?
Same reason I was saying. We felt like, and I haven't talked to them, I assume it's the same reason. And we have had conversations before this about staying to maintain the principles of the broadcast. If we leave, we can't help. And that was my opinion. There have been other times when Anderson left, when others were fired, that we could have stormed into a meeting and quit. But those very distinguished correspondents and myself did have conversations about this over time and decided that we were better working on the inside and that we could influence things for the better. And we did.
Well, go help her.
And it was my intention to stay and do exactly that.
Do you think, though, they can trust those assurances?
No. I would venture to say that trust is broken.
Do you think Barry Weiss needs to be removed?
Oh, gosh, yes.
Oh, wow.
She's a lovely person. And her free press organization that she founded has been very successful. She's proven that.
Hey, quit.
But television's not her thing. She brings an ideology into CBS News where that is just anathema. And so it's a terrible fit. It's probably not her fault, but it's just a terrible fit. She doesn't know television. She doesn't understand how it works. She doesn't have management experience for a large organization like CBS News. So, yes, I do think that we would be far better off without her. Maybe she goes back to the free press and has a sterling career. But this is like somebody walking up to me and saying, there's a 747. There are 400 people on it. We need you to fly it to Paris. I'm going to decline because I don't have a clue. And it would have been so much better if Barry Weiss had been offered this job and said, oh, that's not for me. I don't know how to do that.
President Trump reacted to you being fired.
Did he?
He
Oh,
went on a podcast and called you a stiff.
I'm surprised
And he
that
also-
the President of the United States would bother to notice, but okay. Please tell me. I'm not aware of this.
He also said you were part of this gang of stupid, crooked people that don't care about your country.
oh, really?
Stupid, I can take that. Stiff, yeah, probably. Don't care about the country.
That's awful.
I've never worn the uniform.
But he's gone to
I've been
war.
in combat for this country.
Yep.
In Afghanistan and Iraq, Kuwait, been shot at,
Yep.
spent nights in foxholes filling up with water in the desert. I'm not a that the President of the United States has ever done any of those things for his country?
Oh.
Please correct me if I'm wrong. You become a journalist because you love the First Amendment. You become a journalist because you love the country. And while all of the other descriptions that the president used about me might be applicable, not that one. There is no democracy without journalism.
Truth.
It can't be done. And that is why I am a journalist.
Last few questions.
You know, on Fox News again.
Okay. We got to pause. Number one. Isn't it? I told you that you got to see real raw emotion in this. And Doodles, I shared this on my community wall. So if you want to go back and listen to the whole thing uninterrupted, it's there. This was the first sit down that he's done since he was fired, right? Number one, you can tell that really hurt him. Oh man. Number two, he's like, what the president responded, which think about what he told us. Like, part of the issue about this was that, gosh damn it, get out from underneath my feet. You like to do this little dance thing and you end up getting kicked like a soccer ball. But think about what he said at the beginning of this interview when they were talking about how this all came to be. No, back up. You are not going out. You're being ridiculous. Well, I mean, there's that. President grew up. How about they bribed the president to get the acquisition to go through, effectively leading to the beginning of his end. Like, that was what we learned in the beginning of this, because they said that Trump then sued 60 Minutes, right? And oh, son of a bitch, it's gonna rain. Well, it's raining. It's gonna start hailing, I bet. The president grew up watching these people also. The whole thing was about somebody who left their position as an opinion writer who said that the New York Times was biased to come to work for an organization where there was a get on board with the president's narrative or you don't go anywhere. And then knowing that they had to bribe the president to get the merger, the acquisition to go through for them for the new owner to buy it from the former owner, the Redstone lady, Sherry Redstone. Whatever, Ellison is the new one. Yeah, like, that's really... And then to hear Trump's words and see that, like, essentially calling, effectively showing us that integrity means nothing. It just seems weird to me. That's a whole little circle thing. Almost like it was planned out that way, right? Because she had no experience in television. And her only journalism, no experience in management. And her only experience came from a reputable news organization that she claimed to be biased. And what was the whole new philosophy at CBS? You had to get in line with the president's narrative, or doesn't that seem like a bias? Okay. Let's put that out so we don't start a fucking fire. Okay. I'll be right back. Okay. Let's get you guys. I believe, unless he gets us into some conflict, I believe this is his last. We go into election year next year, don't we? We start it in 27 because isn't the next election in 28? Okay.
There is no democracy without journalism.
I agree.
It can't be done. And that is why I'm a journalist.
Last few questions.
On Fox News, you're going to just run the parts where I'm crying and say I'm a lunatic.
The era we live in.
It is the era we live in.
Scott, you joined CBS as a reporter in 1989.
Proudest day of my life.
As I was preparing for this interview, I was thinking about, in many ways, how the story of modern CBS is the story of your own career, too. When you look back, because your tenure is now over, what do you hope your departure does? What do you hope will happen now?
My hope is that the leadership of Paramount will say to themselves, okay, this isn't working. We have broadcasts that almost don't get on the air. We have respected journalists saying that there is a thumb on the scale for one political party over another. We have a broadcast which is among the most important in America, the most successful in the history of all of television. It was doing great. So why are we making these changes? We need adult supervision. And at the moment, we don't have it. We have people who've been installed in these jobs who, through no fault of their own, have no experience in television. It's not their fault. But they don't know what they're doing. And there's a subtle political bias that I've never seen at 60 Minutes before. And so, or at CBS News before. And so that is my hope, a return to sanity, a return to honor, a return to courage. We used to have all of those things in abundance, and now we don't. We can save this. It's possible to land this plane. But right now, CBS News, in my view, is on fire.
Scott Pelley, thank you so much for coming in today.
Okay. The interview reached out to CBS News after this interview regarding Pelley's claims of interference with his Minneapolis story. A CBS News spokesperson replied, in an email, Barry made 4 points in the course of editorial back and forth. They had no political movements and were proposed solely to make the piece as strong, fair, and accurate as possible. As frequently in any case in any newsroom that operates with collaboration, not everything she raised made it to air, I would imagine it says. Made it into the final piece. Okay. As for Pelley's contention that Nick Bilton wants to fire everyone, the spokesperson wrote that Nick has immense respect for the current roster of correspondents on the show and had no plans to fire any of the people who were there at the time of his appointment, including Scott Pelley. And that was that. So, there you go. We watched the Scott Pelley interview. I think it is. I think it was brave of him. I think he got to say all the things that he had been unable to say prior to, with what he noticed was going on with 60 Minutes. Anyway, pretty cool. And I appreciate you guys watching. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. I might be back later. I gotta charge up. We just hit 20%. So I didn't charge it this morning from when I was live. Well, I guess we've been live this whole time since I got up. Anyway, I will see you guys later. Bye.